The nurse smirked as the black woman cried out in pain. "Oh, please, it's not that bad," she scoffed. She thought she could treat her however she wanted, until the woman's husband walked in. And when the nurse realized who he was, her face turned pale. Karma was coming fast. Before we go any further, subscribe to the channel and comment below where you are watching from. Childbirth is supposed to be one of the most painful yet beautiful moments in a woman's life. But for Danielle, her experience turned into something ugly. She was already in pain, already struggling through her contractions. But instead of getting support from the nurse who was supposed to help her, she got cruelty. The nurse rolled her eyes, muttering under her breath, "Oh, come on, it can't be that bad." Danielle tried to hold back tears. She was in one of the most vulnerable moments of her life and she was being treated like a joke. But what the nurse did not know was that Danielle's husband was on his way. And when he arrived, the entire hospital would be shaken. Danielle had been looking forward to this moment for months. She had done everything right, attended her checkups, followed her doctor's advice, prepared herself for the challenges of labor. But nothing could have prepared her for this. The moment she was admitted to the hospital, she felt it. The way the nurse, Nancy, barely looked at her. The way she sighed dramatically when Danielle clutched her stomach in pain. At first, Danielle thought she was imagining it. Maybe Nancy was just having a bad day. Maybe she was just a little impatient. But then it got worse. Danielle's contractions were getting stronger. She grabbed the bed rail, trying to breathe through the pain. "Nurse," she gasped, "I think I need something for the pain." Nancy rolled her eyes. "Oh, honey," she said, her tone dripping with condescension. "You people always act so dramatic." Danielle's heart stopped. "You people?" Her jaw clenched, but she forced herself to stay calm. "Nurse, please," she said again, trying to keep her voice steady. Nancy sighed and checked the monitor lazily. "You're fine," she said. "You're not even dilated enough. Maybe if you stopped whining, this would go faster." Danielle felt like she had been slapped. Her body was screaming in pain, yet this woman, this nurse, the person who was supposed to help her, was treating her like a burden. She looked at the other nurses walking by, but none of them stopped. No one cared. And that hurt more than the contractions. Minutes turned into an hour. Danielle's pain got worse. She could barely think, barely breathe. She gritted her teeth, trying to stay strong, trying not to cry. But then Nancy leaned in with a smirk. "You know, black women always act like this in labor. You all swear you're in so much pain, but guess what? Women have been doing this for centuries." Danielle's blood ran cold. That was it. She could handle pain. She could handle discomfort. But what she would not handle was being treated like she did not matter. She gripped the side of the bed, fighting back the rage boiling inside her. "You're wrong about me," she whispered. Nancy laughed. "Oh, sweetie," she said, patting her arm like she was a child. "You'll be fine." And then she walked away. Danielle felt tears sting her eyes. But just then, her phone vibrated. It was a text from her husband. "I'm here. Be right up." And for the first time that night, Danielle felt hope. Because her husband was the last person Nancy should have messed with. And in just a few minutes, she was about to find out why. Danielle did not have to wait long. The door swung open, and in stepped her husband Marcus. Tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in an expensive black suit. And the second he walked in, the entire room changed. Nancy barely glanced up from the nurse's station. "Sir, visiting hours." Marcus turned his head, and her words died in her throat. Because she recognized him. Everyone did. Marcus was not just some concerned husband. He was Dr. Marcus Reynolds, Chief Medical Director, her boss. Nancy's face drained of color. Marcus did not even look at her. He went straight to Danielle, his expression softening as he kissed her forehead. "Baby, what's wrong?" Danielle's voice shook. "The nurse, Shesh? She wouldn't listen to me. She said I was being dramatic." Marcus froze. Slowly, he turned his head toward Nancy. "Is that so?" Nancy stammered. Was just trying to keep her calm. Marcus stepped forward. "Get out." Nancy blinked, Excuse me? You heard me. Marcus's voice was deadly quiet. You are relieved of your duties. Immediately. Nancy's mouth fell open. You can't. I can, Marcus interrupted. And I just did. Nancy looked around, desperate. But no one spoke up for her. Because now, everyone knew. And her career? It was over. Nancy stood frozen, her face pale as Dr. Marcus Reynolds' cold stare bore into her. The nurse who had mocked his wife, dismissed her pain, and treated her with cruelty was now realizing who she had been dealing with all along. And by the time she tried to backpedal, it was already too late. Dr. Reynolds, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Nancy started, forcing a nervous smile. Marcus did not blink. His voice was calm, but sharp as a blade. The only misunderstanding here is you thinking you could get away with mistreating my wife. Nancy swallowed hard. The confidence she had shown earlier was gone. Danielle, still gripping the hospital bed, watched in silence. The pain was still there, but so was relief. Finally, someone was listening. Nancy licked her lips, trying to recover her composure. Sir, I was just trying to keep her calm. Sometimes patients overreact. Marcus's expression did not change. Patients overreact? He took a step forward, towering over her. So, let me get this straight. You ignored my wife's pain, belittled her, and told her she was being dramatic. Because you thought you knew better? Nancy stammered. Marcus cut her off. Do you know the statistics on black maternal mortality rates in this country? Nancy's lips parted, but no sound came out. Marcus did not wait for an answer. Black women are 4 times more likely to die from childbirth complications because medical professionals like you refuse to take their pain seriously. Do you understand what could have happened tonight? Nancy opened and closed her mouth like a fish out of water. She had nothing to say because, for the first time, she realized the gravity of what she had done. Marcus turned to the head nurse, who had been standing silently near the doorway. Get her out of here, he ordered, his voice like ice. Now. The head nurse did not hesitate. Nancy, turn in your badge. You're done here. Nancy's eyes widened. Wait, you're really firing me. The head nurse didn't even look at her. Effective immediately. Nancy spun back toward Marcus, desperate. Sir, please, this is my career. Marcus crossed his arms. And this was my wife's life. You gambled with it. You lost. Nancy staggered backward, her entire world crumbling. She had never expected this. She had thought she could say whatever she wanted, treat people however she pleased. But now, she was losing everything. A security officer appeared at the door. Ma'am, let's go. Nancy looked around one last time, as if someone would stand up for her. But no one did, because she had done this to herself. She took a shaky breath, turned, and walked out. And just like that, she was gone. The moment Nancy was gone, the tension in the room lifted. Danielle let out a shaky breath, gripping Marcus's hand. Thank you, she whispered, her voice filled with emotion. Marcus kissed her forehead gently. No one disrespects my wife and gets away with it. The head nurse stepped forward, offering a sincere apology. Mrs. Reynolds, we deeply regret what happened tonight. You will receive the best care from now on. Within minutes, a new nurse arrived, kind, attentive, and patient. She immediately took Danielle's pain seriously, adjusting her treatment plan. And this time, Danielle felt safe. Hours later, she gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby girl. Marcus held their daughter in his arms, his heart swelling with love. She's perfect, he whispered. Danielle nodded, tears in her eyes. Because despite everything, this moment was theirs. And nothing, not even hatred, could take it away. Respect is not a privilege. It is a right. Nancy learned that too late. And Danielle? She proved that no one could silence her. Not then. Not ever. Subscribe for more stories that expose the truth and fight for justice.